Hello everyone, welcome to another video on 20 wheels. Today is yet another video on the Morris. There is a reason for me doing so many videos on the Morris at the moment. That'll be coming soon. Just a bit of a hint for you, it is to do with a charity and it is to do with a friend's Volkswagen Beetle. So watch this space, make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss the video when I announce that. And we'll crack on with today's video. So today's video is all about that. It's my carburetor. It is a single SU and nothing really wrong with it. The car does start and run, but I do have a gasket set for it. So all I'm going to do today is take it off. We'll take it apart, we'll clean it up a little bit, put it all back together with new gaskets, and all being well, we'll be able to get the car running. Eagle-eyed viewers will have noticed that my cooling system is kind of there or thereabouts. I do need a new water pump. That'll be coming up in a later video, but it is enough that it's got water in it so I can run it and let it idle for a little while. So let's get cracking. We'll get the carburetor off, and probably the floor's not the best place for it, but I do have a piece of card we can spread out on the floor to make sure we don't get any dirt and grit in the carburetor before we put it back together. So the first thing we need to do is disconnect this fuel line, which is now going to squirt fuel. Oh no, it's not going to squirt fuel everywhere. Just put it up there. I'm going to keep it higher than the fuel pump so it doesn't leak fuel like it is at the moment. There you go, that works well. Hooks over the bonnet quite nicely. I'll put the Jubilee clip up there. Vacuum hose off. Non-standard vacuum hose. Blue because it's go faster. More power. Right, so what we're going to do then is just undo. You've got two nuts at the top here. There's one at the top and one down underneath. Unique design, the top one, you can't actually undo it all the way in one go. You have to undo the bottom one, move it forward so you can access it because this top bolt's in the way. The bottom one is not as easy to get to. There we go. So put you down there, you might be able to see where it is. There we go. Than that, don't forget the washer. There we are. So I'm going to put them on the rocker cover so I don't forget and lose them. This can now be moved forward so we can undo the top one. Same again, don't lose the washer. There's the nut, there's the washer. Right, carburetor can now come off. You can see the old gasket there, and it's a bit stuck on the plate here for this throttle cable. You can see there's a split pin. Pull the split pin out and then you can pull the whole rod out, which I'm going to need 2 hands for. Okay, so that's off. There's just a little split pin in the end of there, some washers, and also in there is this little plate that connects to the throttle return spring, which is just full on the floor, the other end of which hooks on that little plate on the exhaust. Right, now that we're leaking fuel everywhere, the only other thing we've got to undo is the choke cable, which is just that little pinch bolt in the middle of the screen there. Probably the best way to do that I normally find is a pair of pliers. If you haven't got the right size nut, pair of pliers on there, and you haven't got to undo it much. It's just it is literally just a pinch bolt. These pliers are not great. There we are, like that. Hasn't got to come out just enough that the cable can come through like so. Pull the cable off, and there we have it. Carburetor totally off the car. And let me get this set up on the floor and then I shall go through it with you. So to start with, let's have a look at the fuel bowl. So held on with these 3 screws, Last one's got this tag on it which identifies the carburetor. So if you do need parts, you look for that tag on yours. My one says AUD 13. Unlucky for some if you're superstitious. So I'll take these screws out. Put them over there. And inside here you've got a little needle there which basically float. So when the fuel level rises, float comes up and pushes on the little needle valve there, closing off the fuel flow. My float bowl, a little bit dirty in the bottom of there. I'll clean that with some brake cleaner, which I've got over here, in a moment. And back here, you can see the throttle valve. So, go wide open throttle. Most important part though is up in here. You can see a needle in the back of there, just before the piston comes down. When you open wide open throttle, because you've got air being drawn through, it lifts that needle up, allows fuel through. And on the bottom here, we've got our jet. So if I simulate now, so that's our choke, which pulls the jet down. That actually moves quite smoothly. I don't want to do too much of this if I don't need to. I mean, to adjust the fuel mixture, we've got the nut at the bottom there, so you wind it down for a richer mixture and wind it up for a leaner one. So I don't want to do too much of this if I don't need to. I did notice there was no gasket on here. There should be a gasket. Oh no, there is one. There it is. There we go. It's a bit past its best, so we'll change that in a minute. We'll clean all of this up. We've got no gasket on the back of here, which has also seen better days. So we can clean that off with a screwdriver in a moment. I'm going to go to town cleaning that lot, and I'll show you what it's like afterwards. Right, so that has been cleaned up. Not perfect. Would probably been better if I had a parts washer. If I had a parts washer to strip the whole thing down, clean it all up. But for this, it'll be fine. So the gasket set. Let's see what we've got here. So we've got our fuel bulb gasket, and then a few gaskets to go on the manifold. And we've got some O-rings and bits and pieces, which probably they'll be for like these small ones down here. There's little two there are for the fuel hose. Let's move that up and show you. They're for the fuel hose that go on the jet there. Ours is fine at the moment, so we're not going to worry too much about that. We're just going to put it back together with the bits we got. It's actually in a lot better condition than I thought it was. So yeah, I'm just going to put the fuel bowl on. We'll obviously put the screws back in, and then we'll chuck it back on the car and I'll show you. Alright, that's all back together. Fuel hose is on, go faster vacuum pipe is on. It did run pretty well before. Probably what I will do is go and start the car as it is, and then we'll go from there. If it doesn't start, then we'll do a base setup, which is to wind the mixture screw, which is the nut underneath, all the way up, and then you go 12 flats down, so basically 2 turns. Wind it 2 turns down. That gives you a good starting point, and then you can mix it from there. Back in the car, let's give it a go. A little bit of choke, which seems to actually feel a little better. Here goes the fuel pump. Just wait for it to stop. There we are. Should have fuel pressure now. Okay, one other thing I just noticed is I forgot to connect the throttle return spring. Let me go and do that quickly. That's a lot better, much better. Let's try again then. More choke. don't know about that metallic noise. Oh, it's probably just my tools moving around. I should try to start them. Let's see what could be the screwdriver. Right, I need to check where it was. Let's give it a little bit of throttle as well. Starter motor then is not too happy, and nor is my ignition switch. Let's go with a bit more choke. I do have another trick up my sleeve. Same way we started out before. A little squirt of brake cleaner. So we're out of brake cleaner, so we'll use that brake cleaner. Just a little bit down the throttle. Let's try again then. The metallic noise has stopped, but she's still not running very smooth. She does respond to the throttle. Choking a little bit. Yeah, she's running. That's timing, she's starting to backfire a bit. Not too smoky. She is running though, that's the main thing. Cool. Right, well, we have cleaned up the carburetor and made her run, I would say, rougher than she has done in previous videos, but nevertheless she still runs. Yeah, I think probably one of my next videos will go for a total static tune. And we'll get it all set up properly and see if we can get her to run nice and smooth now that she's got water in her, so we can run her a lot longer. Probably soon we will announce our big charity event involving this and a friend's Volkswagen Beetle. So if you haven't done already, make sure you subscribe, like the video if you made it this far, and I'll catch you next time.